Glory Srila Prabhupada Guru Maharaj. Thank you for joining the call, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Manindra Prabhu and all the assembled devotees, and with pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Shamarasika Devidasi from Germantown, Maryland.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dono pranam, all Glory Srila Prabhupada Guru Maharaj. Thank you for joining the call.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. This is Nikunja Rasadas from Germantown, Maryland.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All Glory Srila Prabhupada Guru Maharaj. Thank you for joining the call.
Hare Krishna, this is Hema Gopi from Mayapur. I was invited to join your wonderful association today to discuss Bhagavatam.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All Glory Srila Prabhupada Guru Maharaj. Mataji, I would like to give some introduction to all the devotees. So, Hemagopi Dasi Mataji is from Sridham Mayapur, India, and Mataji is a disciple of His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj. And with his blessings, Mataji have completed the Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav, and Bhakti Vedanta studies. Rivol. Academically, Mataji have done engineering and recently got the degree in teaching. And she has been teaching for more than 20 years now. So Mataji's husband is His Grace Advaita Chandra Prabhu, and he's Italian by body, but he has been living in Mayapur since 1988. Mataji moved to Mayapur in 1999 after marrying her Prabhu. They have like two daughters, Nadia Priya and Radharani, and they are pursuing their university studies in Italy from 2024. And her husband is currently staying with them too. And Mataji is still in Mayapur. So with that, Mataji, we welcome you to the Srimad Bhagavatam call and all your wonderful services in Sridham Mayapur. And I would like to welcome you and ask all the devotees to welcome you with the three Hari Bol.
Haribol.
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 Haribol. Thank you so much, Mataji, for your association. Hare Krishna. Welcome to the call.
Hare Krishna. Hare
Very
Krishna.
grateful for this opportunity. Thank you. Any opportunity to associate with Srimad Bhagavatam is a great fortune. So I'm very grateful to you all for this great fortune you have bestowed on me. So shall we start with some Jai Radha Madhava?
Yes, Mataji. So just a little bit introduction. So today we are very fortunate. We have Her Grace Hema Devidasi Mataji among us, and Mataji is going to enlighten us from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 11, and verse 15 onwards. Hare Krishna, Mataji. You may take over the call now. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jayo Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe, Jai Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe, Jai Pancha Tattva, Jaya Pancha Tattva, Pancha Tattva, Jaya Pancha Tattva, Jaya Pancha Tattva, Pancha Tattva, Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Nrsimhadev Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Nrsimhadev Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jai Nrsimhadev Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Nrsimhadev Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Jagannatha Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Devi Jaya Jagannatha Jagannatha Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Devi Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajavacharya Ashtottara Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Acharya Vrinda ki jai. Samaveta Gaura Bhakti.
Jai.
All glories to assemble devotees, all glories to assemble devotees, all glories to assemble devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. So, today we are reading from Srimad Bhagvatam, Canto 7, Chapter 11. The chapter is titled Perfect Society, 4 Social Classes. And we are looking at verses 15. They said I can go on from verse 15. So I chose verse 15, 16, and 17, 3 verses. I will share on the screen if it's possible. Verse share. Only host can. Maybe Prabhu, you could share the verse, or could I just recite the verse by myself?
Yeah, let me share the share the verse. Give me a few seconds, Mataji. So it's 7, 11,
15.
and 15. Okay. So it's 8 to 12. Is it together? Okay.
15, Prabhuji. 15. Or you can
15.
share the screen.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm sharing, Mataji. Actually, did I lose the... I'm still host. I'm trying to find the share option. Yeah. Sorry, today I'm on the phone. Actually, it takes time, Mataji. Sorry for
No problem.
time. Please share one. Are you able to see?
Yeah, something is loading, Prabhu. Mayapur,
You can
internet
start,
connection
Mataji. You
is very
can start.
slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I will just I will
Hmm.
just read, and devotees can, if not, yeah, I understand you cannot follow, but I'll just read every line twice so you can just
Yes,
so
Mataji.
this is text 15. Vaishyastu varta vrittisyan, Vaishyastu varta vrittisyan, Nityam Brahma Kulanugaha, Nityam Brahma Kulanugaha, Sudrasya Dvija Sushrusha, Sudrasya Dvija Sushrusha, Vrittischa Swamino Bhavet, Vrittischa Swamino Bhavet, Vaishyastu Varta Vrittisyan, Nityam Brahma Kulanugaha, Sudrasya Dvija Sushrusha, Vrittischa Swamino Bhavet, Vaishyastu Varta Vrittisyan, Nityam Brahma Kulanugaha, Sudrasya Dvija Sushrusha, Vrittischa Swamino Bhavet. Translation. The mercantile community should always follow the directions of the Brahmanas and engage in such occupational duties as agriculture, trade, and protection of cow. For the Shudras, the only duty is to accept a master from a higher social order and engage in his service. So I'll read the following 16 and 17. I will just read them myself. 16, verse 16, translation. As an alternative, a Brahmana may also take to a Vaishya's occupational duty of agriculture, cow protection, or trade. He may depend on that which he has received without begging. He may beg in the paddy field every day. He may collect paddy left in the field by its proprietor, or he may collect food grains left here and there in the shops of grain dealers. These are 4 means of livelihood that may also be adopted by Brahmanas. Among these 4, each of them in succession is better than the one preceding it. Purport. A Brahmana is sometimes offered land and cows in charity, and thus for his livelihood he may act in the same way as a Vaishya by cultivating land, giving protection to cows, and trading off his surpluses. A better process, however, is to pick up the grains from the field or from a dealer's shop without begging. Verse 17. Except in a time of emergency, lower persons should not accept the occupational duties of those who are higher. When there is such an emergency, of course, everyone but the Kshatriya may accept the means of livelihood of others. Purport. The occupational duty of a Brahmana should not be accepted by persons in lower social orders, especially Vaishyas and Shudras. For example, an occupational duty of the Brahmana is to teach Vedic knowledge. But unless there is an emergency, this professional duty should not be accepted by the Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, or Shudras. Even a Kshatriya cannot accept the duties of a Brahmana unless there is an emergency. And then, even if he does so, he should not accept charity from anyone else. Sometimes Brahmanas protest against our Krishna conscious movement for creating Brahmanas from Europeans or in other words, from Milechas and Yavanas. This movement, however, is here supported in Srimad Bhagavatam. At the present moment, society is in a chaotic condition, and everyone is given up the cultivation of spiritual life, which is especially meant for the Brahmanas. Because spiritual culture has been stopped all over the world, there is now an emergency, and therefore it is now time to train those who are considered lower and condemned so that they may become Brahmanas and take up the work of spiritual progress. The spiritual progress of human society has been stopped, and this should be considered an emergency. Here is solid support from Narada Muni of the movement known as Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this chapter is a conversation between Yudhishthir Maharaj and Narada Muni. In the previous chapter, we saw how Bhagavan Narsingadev, after killing Hiranyakashipu, is literally willing to offer endless benedictions to Prahlad Maharaj, whatever you may want and more. And we see how Prahlad Maharaj asked for one benediction, and that one benediction is, may I not be attracted to material benedictions. Please bless me so that I may not be allured by this offer of whatever you may want in this world, you may get scenario. Because there is nothing to be wanted in this material world. And even though Prahlad Maharaj refused to accept any benedictions, Lord Narsingadev gave him some very beautiful benedictions. That Prahlad Maharaj will live a materially opulent life in this world, and then after completion of his life in this world, he will go back to Vaikuntha Loka. No, so an assurance from the Lord that he will go back to Vaikuntha Loka after he leaves. Two kids, both of them, Prahlad Maharaj and Dhruva Maharaj, both the kids got that blessing. You will have a nice life in this material world, and when you finish your business here in the material world, then you will go back to Godhead. You will go back to Vaikuntha Loka. Both of them got that blessing. And Narsingadev gives some specific instruction to Prahlad Maharaj that he should follow his duties in this world. And Prahlad Maharaj, as a dutiful son, immediately asks blessings from Narsingadev to deliver his father. That's the first duty of a child, to become a devotee, so that 21 generations before are delivered and 7 generations after are delivered. So Narsingadev smiles and he says that goes without saying. Your father is already delivered, and 21 generations before you, they're all delivered because of one devotee like you being born in their family. And Yudhishthir Maharaj hears this pastime of Lord Nrsingadev from Narada Muni with great relish. And he is admiring the nature of Prahlad Maharaj, that he is able to understand the insignificance of material benedictions, even when it's coming from Lord Vishnu himself. And such is a perfect person. And in order to create such a perfect person, you will need a perfect society. So, and that becomes the root of the question that Yudhishthir Maharaj asks in this chapter. And the question that Yudhishthir Maharaj asks in this chapter to Narada Muni is how to become such a perfect person. Can you tell me the special characteristics of a society which can produce such perfect persons? And to this enquiry, Narada Muni states that he will describe such a perfect society, and it will not be from his own statements, but he is going to directly quote Lord Narayan, who in the form of Naranarayana gave a beautiful description of such a perfect society. And then Narada Muni continues to describe the advent of Naranarayana. Narayana is Lord Vishnu himself, and Nara is a partial expansion of the Lord. And they are in Badrika Ashram, they are performing penances, and they have given this direction. The Lord, who is the protector of all religious duties, he has created these eternal principles of religious system. And Narada Muni starts explaining these principles of a perfect society, and it is called as the Varna Ashrama. Of course, our acharyas explain that when Narada Muni explains Varna Ashrama, what is actually implied is Daivi Varnashrama. Varnashrama society, where Lord Krishna is kept as the center. Varnashram in itself, when we take out the element of devotional service and just stick to the ritualistic and religious activities prescribed in there, will become very entangling. So Varnashrama is supposed to be used as a stepping stone. It is not a place. Varnashrama is not a system where you can live. In Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada explains that Varnashrama is just a stepping stone. A stepping stone is something that is laid on the road. In India, it's very common sight. When it rains, the road is filled with water, and the laborers will put some stones from some one point to another point, where there is, one end of the dry land to the other end. And people are just allowed to walk. You just go forward till you reach the other end. So Varnashram is a stepping stone. It is not a system of society where people are meant to stay and enjoy, or meant to stay and continue living in the same state. So that kind of society which ensures that progress obviously has to put Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna in the center. So that's why the proper definition of Varnashram as per Bhagavatam is that society which helps you progress towards Vishnu. It will not bind you in this material world by showing you various ritualistic activities meant for a particular class of person, but simply guides you in such a way that even though you're doing that particular set of duties and activities meant for that class, you have a goal, you have a destination to reach, and you will be going forward. You will never be stuck in that level of just following those set of duties. In other words, the purpose of the duties that you follow in Varnashram is to elevate you and increase your Krishna consciousness, so that you become closer to the Lord. So Narada Muni starts with the description of qualities that are to be inculcated by anybody who wants to call himself a human being. So these qualities form the basis of Varnashram. So if somebody is not following these qualities, they may not fit into the category of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra. They will be separated out of this category, and they go into what is called as outcast. And they are Milechas, Yavanas, Kshumba, the whole verse is there. So many classes of people who are not able to follow these 30 qualities that are explained in verses 8 to 12. So those 30 qualities are meant for all the people who want to be classified as human beings. And if you cannot exhibit those qualities, then you lead a life of human being in animal form. You have the body of a human, but you simply live like an animal, just eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So there are classes of human beings who can do only that much with their life. And they go with the different names, milechas, yavanas, and so on, so when we talk about varnashram, we talk about that class of people who are willing to embrace these 30 qualities.
Krishna, Hare Krishna Mataji, we can't hear you.
Sorry, Mataji. Sorry. Sorry, I just had to cut a call. And after that, Narada Muni starts by saying how such class of people can be got in the society. Such class of people are got in the society, class of people who are willing to accept these 30 qualities, who are willing to cultivate these 30 qualities. They are got begotten into the society by double birth, twice born. Yeah. So the first time when they are born with what is called as Garbhadan Samskara. They are not children born because somebody wanted to enjoy their senses and the child was a mistake. Yeah. So we are not talking about unwanted population. Unwanted population means the intention of the parents was not to beget the child, but simply to enjoy their sense. And the child was a side product of such an activity. And they actually, you can actually see that often in modern society when such things happen, people are shocked. They don't know what to do. People seriously consider killing the child in the womb itself so that the child will not come into this world. And they don't have any plan. They don't have money to educate the child. They don't have money to put food in their plate. They're not even, the parents themselves may not even be like educated or working or anything. They're just maybe some teenage kids who wanted to enjoy life and try out something, and then boom, there is a child. So, and that kind of children who are unwanted population, when they come, they already feel that vibe. Oh, I don't know how you came about. I don't have money for you to give you food, give you education, even give you time, give you love, affection, because I wasn't prepared to have you in my life. So we are not talking about that class. When you make somebody feel that they are not needed, they will behave like they are not needed. They will cause nuisance. So Narada Muni explains that if you want people who will imbibe these qualities, it starts with the step that you want the people in the world, where you're conscious, I'm going to bring such and such, with such and such prayers, some soul in this world. And this soul has a specific target to achieve, that they will cultivate these wonderful qualities, and they will sit inside the system of varnashram, perform their prescribed duties all the time, knowing what is their goal, what is their destination. And when such children are to be formed, that is performed by what is called garbhadhana samskara, or it is a prescribed reformatory process which purifies the consciousness of both father and mother in such a way, through scriptures, in such a way that they can attract that kind of soul who will be inclined to imbibe these 30 qualities. And we should remember that whatever is said now by Narada is said, it is not a smriti, it is directly words of Lord, is shruti. So he says that is how you create a society. It starts, the starting point of a society which is God centered is place where the children are wanted, children are planned, and children are given goal. Children are given a path to reach that goal, which is varnashram. And 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 uh, and in verse 14, Narada Muni explains how these children can be divided into 4 groups when they grow up, based on their guna karma vibhashaha, their qualities and their inclination to do some work. They can become a brahmana, a kshatriya, a vaishya, or a shudra. So the verse 14 gives the qualities of a brahmana. And the qualities of a brahmana are, it says, for a brahmana, there are 6 occupational duties. So the 6 jobs that are meant for a brahmana are patana, patana, yajana, yajana, and dana, pratigraha. Patana means studying of scriptures, and patana means teaching others, making people understand the conclusion of the Vedas properly. And yajana means worshipping the Lord, and yajana means helping others worship the Lord, either by teaching them how to worship, or they organize yagyas and pujas on others' behalf to worship the Lord. And the dana, pratigraha. Dana means charity, and pratigraha means accepting or giving. So they have to accept charity, and then whatever comes in charity, they will keep what is needed and give the rest in charity. They will in turn give charity to others. So that is for brahmana. And then kshatriya, their duty is to protect. They can never accept charity. They're meant to give charity, and it is their duty to protect. And their source of income comes from collecting taxes, and they should not ever tax brahmanas who are engaged in the 6 occupational duties. If they only do patan, patan, yajan, you're not allowed to tax them. That class of people are always exempted from taxes. But the other lower classes, you may put some minimal tax, and you can collect that, and you can fine, you can penalize people for wrongdoings, and like that you can collect money for running the society, but you cannot beg charity. That's a particular. And brahmana, kshatriyas are protectors. They're inclined to offer protection to others. Brahmanas are inclined to offer guidance. Kshatriyas, their natural inclination is to offer protection. And then verse 15 is describing the other 2 classes. Vaishyas, their duty is to cultivate the land, produce a lot of grains, pay taxes on everything that they produce, do trade, sell their goods, and protect cows. These are all, if people have these inclinations, they are to be grouped as Vaishyas. And Shudras are people who are generally not in they don't have the mental capacity to do any of these. They are not inclined to offer guidance. They are not inclined to offer protection. They are not also in dhanavritti. They are not business inclined to do business. They can't actually seem to figure out what they do. So these are class of people who have to be told what is to be done. So generally, they go in the shelter of one of these higher classes, Brahmana, Kshatriya, and Vaishya, and do as told. Because they don't know what to do, then somebody offers them guidance and tells them what is best for them to do. So they engage in the service of the other classes. And so till this section is about how to, description of a perfect society. comes from Lord Narayana himself. To create such a society, you need people with the list of qualities, 30 qualities. In order to create people with those 30 qualities, you should produce wanted progeny, children who are planned, children who are prayed for. And when such people come into society, then the society, based on their inclination and their what type of activities they like to do, then there is 4: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. And then these are the qualities of Brahmana, these are the qualities of Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. And then sometimes it happens that a particular class may not be able to thrive in their particular duty. Like, for example, if you have a Kshatriya who's very demoniac, so he will not allow patan. He will not allow you to study Vedas. You will not allow Gurukulas to run so you can teach Vedas. He will not allow yajnas to be performed. He will not give any charity to Brahmanas. So in such cases, the society is in a chaotic situation. And when such a chaotic situation happens, then the next section explains what each class can do. No, there is a set of verses starting from this verse. There is a set of verses that explain what each of the classes can do when they are not allowed to do what they're supposed to do. So that it is still under the Vedic injunctions. You for example, let us say a Brahmana, because of a tyrant Kshatriya king, is not able to do his Brahminical duties. So what should he do? Should he just go and become a servant in somebody's house? Or should he, take up sword and bow and arrow and start fighting the king? What is he supposed to do? So without that guidance, a society, in spite of being based on varnashram, can still cause confusion. So a further explanation of what to do when there is a situation where things cannot be run as per plan B, plan A, then what to do is plan B. So even that much also the Lord explains. So the plan B is when a Brahmana cannot act as a Brahmana for some reason, the Kshatriyas are not protecting them. All his lands have been taken away. Some big famine, nobody is coming to study. Everybody is struggling to exist. So who is going to come to study? Who's going to pay for yagya? Who's going to give charity? When such a scenario happens, a Brahmana is not supposed to pick up the occupation of a Kshatriya. In fact, nobody is allowed to pick up the occupation of a Kshatriya because it's very peculiar and particular. And it requires a lot of bravery. And that is not something that comes as a trait in most of the people. So, so Brahmanas are allowed to take up the occupational duties of a Vaishya. Generally, when Brahmanas are given charity, they have a lot of land and cows. So they can, and what they do is they will just keep how much land and cow they need for their sustenance. And everything else that comes as charity, they will give it back as charity. They will take and they will give. They'll take and they will give. So they will always remain beggars. They'll always remain poor, so that they don't have to worry about maintaining the land, or they don't, their mind is so rich, and in order to maintain that richness of mind, they voluntarily chose to keep the body in impoverished condition, so they don't have to spend time thinking about providing excessively for the needs of body. They'll just keep enough for sustaining the body, and they will leave everything else. So when such a scenario happens, the Brahmanas can take up some of their land and they can do their agriculture without going to beg from others. So that is the first thing they can do. A second thing, a better option is, instead of staying there in the whole day in the field and trying to whole day cultivate and try to do agriculture and take care of plants and make sure birds are not pecking around and so on and so forth. Instead of doing this agriculture, they can simply just go to another field owner, and they can ask the field owner if he would just give something, can you give me something in charity so I can simply live, and field owner can give him something and he can go with that. And because begging is not a very nice profession for brahmanas, a better option would be, instead of begging a field owner, just wait for the end of harvest, and you may collect some grains that are left by the field owner, and you may just use that leftovers to sustain yourself. And better than that is to go to a person who is a grains dealer. When you're harvesting, you will not have a harvest every single day. There will be a period of 4-5 months where you're cultivating. After that, there will be a period of harvest for a month or so. And after that, the land will be left to rest. So if you're hungry at that time, you may not be able to find anything in the land. So so it is better to go to a person who's a grain dealer, because he will have grains throughout the year. And when he closes his shop, obviously, from his sales and everything, he will sweep out some fallen grains, some leftover grains, and he will leave it out for others to take, animals, mice, other living entities to take. You can just take that. So here is given how a brahmana can simplify his living. You could cultivate and spend a whole day in a field. It's fine. You're doing job of kshatriya. Or you can simplify your living by going to job of Vaishya, or you can simplify your living by going to a Vaishya who's very expert in doing it, and just begging something from him. Even though begging is not something allowed for Brahmana, better to beg than to spend whole day in the field. And something better than that is wait for the harvest period to be over, and whatever is leftover grain, most probably of lowest quality, that is discarded, you can use that. And if that is going to create an anxiety in you that, oh, I'm taking this grain now, but I may not have any grains for the upcoming days, because so many months if the land is going to remain barren, then you better go to somebody who's selling grains. It will be throughout the year, and they will constantly sweep and throw out some leftover grains, old stock, or not good quality stock, and you can collect those leftovers from those grain dealers. So it is better, progressively better. And the last verse for today is the importance, the minute we give this plan B, many times people want to stick to this plan B because it looks like an easy option. It's like, I'm trying to be a Brahmana, but it's so difficult, so I should just already go to plan B. So then what they're saying is, just don't jump between your varnas. Just stick to your varna, whatever it is, just stay there. It is to be performed only when it is an emergency. And even if it is an emergency and you have to perform something, you should always know that you are supposed to go down. A Brahmana can go down and perform some duties, and a Kshatriya can go down and perform. A Vaishya can go down to Shudra and perform. But you should not try to, oh, it's an emergency, so let me do the duties of a higher class. That is not allowed. Even a Kshatriya is not allowed to do the duties of a Brahmana, because the qualities required for performing such duties are not there in that particular class. Then qualitatively they go down, and that is how those classes are formed. The inclination towards the Supreme Lord and the qualities needed to inculcate those inclinations are very small as we go down in the order. So then they say, even if there is an emergency, Even if there is a need that you have to jump, please make sure that you don't jump to higher classes. For example, if a Kshatriya is jumping to become a Brahmana, he should still maintain his Kshatriya duty that he will never accept charity. He should not become comfortable now. I am a Brahmana. People are going to give me charity. I can just live with charity. So even if you're jumping up, you should not give up your original nature. A Kshatriya will feel offended if somebody gives him charity, because he feels the need to protect. He feels that he is somebody higher who can protect others. So if somebody gives him charity, he should feel offended. So that nature, one's inherent nature, you should not lose even if you are in an emergency. So that is the verse number 17 that Narada Muni highlights. Yeah, even if it's an emergency and you have to work on plan B, that you do the duties of other classes, always try to go down and don't try to go up. And even if by chance you have to move up, do not act as if you are that class. A Kshatriya becoming a Brahmana should not act like a Brahmana. He can do whatever he has to do and offer things to society, but he should still maintain his Kshatriya standard of not accepting charity. He should not go down into a situation that may make him comfortable and forget Krishna consciousness. And Prabhupada uses these variations of Varnashram to bring out a very powerful point. And that very powerful point is that the world is now very chaotic. And when there is chaos and you cannot follow plan A, you are allowed to follow plan B. And in our case, in our modern society, we are not even talking about inside Varnashrama, people moving from one Varna to another. We are not talking about that. We are talking about a scenario where the whole Varnashrama has collapsed. There are not even people who are qualified to be Shudras, because even for a Shudra, you should show those 30 qualities: truthfulness, tolerance, humility. Even that class of people are, if you would find somebody of that caliber, he would be the highest type of person in society. So in Kali Yuga, Shudras are the highest class of people you can find. And people lower than Shudras, who are not even willing to follow basic human qualities, are filling up the world, and they're taking up the positions that are meant to be meant for Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas. So they are taking up. Brahmanical class is taken over by people who drink, who smoke, who do business by chanting mantras. Kshatriyas are people who are supposed to protect society. They are taken up by people who get bribed for protecting them. And the whole system of protection is lost. People only take up big positions because those positions bring money. They become leaders so that they can put unbearable amount of tax on the praja, on their citizens, and collect all the tax and enjoy their senses. So there is no qualified Brahmana. They're all doing business using Vedas. There is no qualified Kshatriyas. They're all using their position to collect tax and enjoy. And Vaishya's cow protection doesn't exist. Agriculture is next to inexistent. So none of these higher classes, Dvija people, born twice, once by the Garbhadan Samskara, and second time by following and accepting the instructions of the spiritual master, twice born. This Brahmana, Kshatriya, and Vaishya, they don't exist anymore. Then Srila Prabhupada says, now we are in a chaotic situation. So we are not doing anything abnormal. We are bringing people from the Milecha and Yavana backgrounds, and we are giving them training so that the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya positions are filled up by people who are trained And then when these trained people fill up those positions, then there is going to be some sanity in the society. If you just give up the whole varnashram system in the hand of people who are less than Shudras, they are going to utilize each of those positions and try to exploit the society more and more using their power and position. So Srila Prabhupada uses, he says, here is solid support from Narada Muni. And this movement, however, is here supported by Bhagavatam. So Narada Muni, who is repeating the words of Lord Narayana and Srimad Bhagavatam, from where we are studying, they both support this idea that when the Varnashrama is messed up, when there is chaos, it is duty of the leaders of the society to train, try to capture this unwanted population, see which of them have that inclination to take up to spiritual life. And once you identify and capture the interest of these people and you put them in order, and because it's Devi Varnashrama, then these people in turn are going to bring in more and more and more, and eventually the society will fall back in a situation where everybody is again aligned to the path of self-realization. So that is the unique contribution of Srila Prabhupada to ISKCON, that he to the world, that he created ISKCON to remove the chaos of this society and not just re-establish Varnashram, but establish Daivi Varnashram, and put back plan A in place so that the whole society walks towards the Supreme Lord. So these are some of the takeaways from today's verses. Thank you for this opportunity to share these thoughts. If there are any comments or questions.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mataji. You're taking your time and telling us all this nice explanation, and I'm really very happy that you have been doing this from very long time, and you are in a very good place. A lot of things you taught us today, and very nice, like unwanted child versus prayered child. That, I mean, it's simple things, but I never thought about that. Sometimes very simple things, so it comes with different package and say, oh, makes sense. So those things, prayed child and what is the duties and 30 qualities and all, and it so much. I took a good notes, hopefully, and I pray and your blessing and or there. I hope I can improve something and measure it. It's if I'm going in right direction or wrong direction. And again, so many good things you told about Narad Muni Maharaj, Dhruv, and Prahlad Maharaj, and it's a good. I'm very happy. I'm fairly new to this group, and I'm getting every time new speakers, new, very well qualified, well trained people. So I'm getting all this nectar. Thank you again. Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dandavat Pranam, all best to Prabhupada. Such a nice class, reflecting upon the Varnashram, how it is supposed to be and how the society is supposed to operate to perfect. I mean, and it is sitting in today's world, especially in America, ruled by the lectures and Yavanas. It's very difficult to for a regular person who has not been trained with this subject matter to understand who should actually lead the society, who should actually do what, and because nowadays it is the Vaishyas who are the kings, who are the kingmakers, and the kings and are those rascals, because the rascals are electing them. So. So it's a very difficult situation that we are, and Bhagavatam is giving us the light, and Prabhupada has kindly brought us and you and his disciples, including you and the followers. They have continuing this movement across the world to spread the really what should be the ideal way. So I had a question. Thank you, Mataji, for your words and such nice deliberation. I had one question though, that a couple of questions. One is that 30 qualities. Is it coming from chapter 13, Mataji?
It's from here. In this chapter only, verses 8 to 12. The 30 qualities that Narada is saying, it's from verses 8 to 12. It's not from 13th chapter, it's from 11th chapter only.
So I'm asking about that. Krishna talks about those 30, qualities in the chapter 13 Bhagavad Gita. So there's
yes. Yeah, Prabhu. Yes. Correct link. Yes, correct link.
Okay, so second question is about the position of the Vaishnavas. Vaishnavas are, of course, above Varnashrama, because Varnashrama still means the three modes of material nature. So Brahmanas are in the Sataguna. So still a golden chain. But when Vaishnavas are supposed to be above, pure devotees, because they Mamcha, Bhavich, and Bhakti Jana Saguna. So whoever is really a devotee of Krishna is above the modes of material nature. So my question is, why is it that we have this Brahmana initiation? So in our Guru Parampara, we do not see that Gopi Sudas Babaji or Jagannath Das Babaji, so they had the Brahmana initiation. So they were just Babajis. They even didn't wear possibly the bhagwa, the saffron cloth. So why is it that the Brahmana is important?
When we say that devotees, when somebody says, I have 1,000 rupees. So that means I have 100 rupees also. I have 10 rupees also. I have 1 rupee also. I have 10 paisa also. You have $1,000. $1,000 if you have, it means you have $100. It means you have $10. It means you have $1. It means you have 10 cents. It means you have 1 cent. Everything which is lower than $1,000 is all there in that $1,000. So when somebody says that a devotee is above Varnashrama, it means that because he has 1,000, it means he has all the qualities which are inside that Varnashram. So that is why devotees can act. Sometimes, like cleaning toilet, it's a Shudra job. Standing in the altar and worshipping is Brahmana job. And going and selling something, or that is a business, and then going and fighting in court, or protecting the interest of devotees, that Kshatriya. So when we say devotees act in mode of pure goodness, that does not mean all those other qualities are lost to them. What it simply means is all those other qualities also they can exhibit as needed in the service of the Lord. They can also because you have 1,000, you have 100 also. Let's say 100 is Brahmana. So you can get up on the altar and do puja, and you can cook for the Lord, you can give classes, you can organize yagyas. You have also $1,000 means you have $10 also. Let's say $10 is equivalent to Kshatriya. So a devotee is capable of defeating people in arguments, and are presenting themselves as lawyers and defeating them in court case. Prabhupada gave guidance to devotees how to win a case. They simply by reading Bhagavatam, there's beautiful narration in Prabhupada Leelamrita. Simply by reading Bhagavatam, they defeated so many educated scholars who were standing there against ISKCON to prove that it is a cult. And just by reading few verses in Bhagavatam, Prabhupada's personal instruction. Go and every day read. Every time there is a hearing that ISKCON is a cult, there is a court case. Every time you go there, simply read one section of Bhagavatam from first canto at that time, which was available in print. And then the judges were able to see that it's not a cult, that it's rooted in Vedic knowledge. And they said, wow, just by reading Bhagavatam, they defeated. So they can act as Kshatriyas. And $1 is like further, Shudra, they clean toilets, they sweep the courtyard, they paint the temples, they do all kind of, they sing and dance and, all kind of things that they, what's called characteristic of Shudra, they can do all of that. And so on, you can see that they do everything for the Shudra class, Vaishya class, Kshatriya class, they will do all of that. They will protect cows, they will do agriculture, they are good in business, they sell incense and sell prasadam, make restaurants selling prasadam, all of that. But the difference is, it is all, how is a Vaishnava different from just a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Shudra? The main difference is the how much intensity Krishna comes out in the picture. With what intensity Krishna is there in the center. And that's what makes a Vaishnava, everything 100% wanting to please Krishna. Not just I'm doing it because I have an inclination. I do it because I want to please the Lord. So it is not that ISKCON devotees are and you asked about why Brahmin Diksha. Practical reason for Brahmin Diksha is to give somebody the opportunity to worship deity. You officially give them a tag that they are Brahmanas, because they have to do patan, yajan, if they do take that up as their main service, then that Diksha helps them, inculcate certain practices. Like you wake up every day, you have to wake up 3 times, you have to chant Gayatri. You cannot eat anything that is not cooked by devotees. You cannot eat anything that is not offered. So some higher level of, because you are directly going to be dealing with the divine body of the transcendental body of the Lord by being a pujari or doing yagya, so then some extra help is given to you, so that you can cultivate some particular qualities that will help you in your service. That is all. It's not that Harinam Diksha is something less, and you need Brahmin Diksha to become better. Harinam Diksha is all and all. Brahmin Diksha is something extra given to a devotee who has to do some service in some particular capacity, like a pujari or somebody who does yagya, or somebody is directly involved in deity service. So we should not think that Brahmin Diksha makes one Brahmin. Brahmin Diksha does not make a devotee Brahmin, because he is above Brahmana. The Brahmin Diksha gives a devotee to practice some particular habits that are very favorable for his service as of being a worshipper of deity in the temple. And Jagannath Das Babaji, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, they are all definitely above Varnashrama. So they are all examples for us. When we reach that level, we should also give up. Varna Ashrama is just a stepping stone. So we should eventually give up any identity we may have as Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Of course, under guidance of Prabhupada, nobody in ISKCON says, I'm a Brahmana devotee, I'm a Kshatriya devotee, I'm a Shudra. We just say we are devotees of Krishna, So that identity doesn't have to be given. But Jagannath Das Babaji, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, they all showed by their example that anybody who may have any other identity apart from an identity, a servant of Krishna, they should give it up. And they should establish the main identity of oneself only as servant of Krishna. So even if you are a sannyasi, that is still under Varnashram. That is the ashrama, no? Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. So Babaji is beyond Varnashrama. So what they are doing when they take up the Babaji status is they are saying, whatever might be your current ashrama or varna, ultimately you should know that there is only one position you have, which is servant of Krishna. And to establish that fact, they give up varnashram, which includes sannyas, and they take something which is beyond that, which is Babaji state. But for ISKCON devotees, we don't have to become Babajis, because Prabhupada has trained us not to become Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra, but Prabhupada has trained us simply to become devotees of Krishna. So we may have any of those clothes of a sannyasi, of a brahmachari, of a grahastha, whatever. We may have any of those clothes, but we act on the level of Babaji. Or at least ideally, if we are following the teachings of Prabhupada, we should act on the level of Babaji. Means our external clothing or nomenclature about being a sannyasi or grahastha should not matter. We should act as a servant of Krishna, no? Which means you are a Babaji. No, Babaji is one who doesn't identify himself as anything except for servant of Krishna. So Prabhupada has already trained us in that way. Is that okay, Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji, wonderful answer. Yes. Like Sarvopadi Vinivaktam Jnana Karmadhyana Pitam. So basically, I mean, all the upadhis are actually that Man Pratishtha. Sapali Sukore Vistha. So it is like that. Thakur says Man and Pratishtha, they are all similar to the excreta of stool of the hog. So yes, actually our identity is Krishna Nityadas. Jiva Sharupai Krishna Nityadas.
Thank you.
Yes, Mother. Thank you, sir, for giving such an elaborate and detailed answer, but perfectly everything our doubts are clear. Very good. Please bless us with your presence in the future also.
Thank you. Krantaraj,
So,
Srimad
is
Bhagavatam.
anybody has a checklist or something with all 30 qualities, you can share, or we can go and make it. I like to measure a quarterly or something if I'm going in right direction or wrong direction, measure something, improving it or not.
Srila Prabhupada says that, like for example, when you're doing an exercise, let's say you want to become a bodybuilder, so what is more important? That we every day sit and measure what is my bicep width, what is my thigh width, what is my waist width, what is my chest width. Do I measure those things to see how much of a bodybuilder I have become? Or do I focus on what food should I eat? What exercises should I do? Where should I go to practice? So there is two paths. One path is focusing on cultivation of qualities, and one path is acting in Krishna consciousness that automatically cultivates qualities. Of course, as we become senior devotees, as we become seniors in our movement, to set good examples, we have to make conscious effort to see, am I being truthful in my dealings? Am I being humble? We may have to consciously check that. But as a process itself, when we practice Krishna consciousness, these qualities just are byproducts. Like when you eat a proper diet and you do the proper exercises, and when you train with the proper teacher, you never have to worry about if my biceps are grown enough, or my waist is enough big, or my chest is enough wide, or whatever, because these are all byproducts of the main activity of training for being bodybuilder. So we don't need to measure things in terms of qualities, as long as we are acting to develop those qualities. Because once we are acting to develop those qualities, we can be rest assured that they will automatically be growing in us. But as we grow in Krishna consciousness, and when we have to set examples for our juniors, we may sometimes pause and try to see, oh, am I being truthful enough in this situation? Am I being humble enough? So So it might be sometimes we may have to check that, but that wouldn't be the predominant process for us. Is that okay, Prabhu?
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much for this Nectar class and question answer session. And you answered so well about the, Monica Mataji, she's listening your class. So she asked me that question, how to become a devotee, or how can I be in Krishna consciousness? Do I need to go like a brahmachari or sannyasi? So like that, but you answered very well that Prabhupada said we don't need to be sannyasi, but being our duties, we can be a devotee. So you explained so nicely, Mataji.
The
Thank you so
main
much.
qualification of this Kali Yuga is that we are totally unqualified to do any of the other things. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that the person who is most unqualified, I am here to give them the blessing of Krishna Prema. No? So we are most qualified to get the blessing of Lord Chaitanya and get his blessings of Krishna Prema because we are the most unqualified. So our disqualification has become our qualification to get the blessing. So we don't have to search for some other qualification because we are already qualified by being disqualified. No, this was something Ari Leela Prabhu was telling in a class, that we are qualified because we are unqualified. So we don't need to develop any other qualification to get Lord Gauranga's mercy.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Rantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaura Bhaktarunda ki jai.
अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय। नमाचार्य श्रीदास ठाकुर की जय। श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। ग्रंथराज भागवतम की जय। हर ग्रेस हेमा गोपी माता जी की जय। Thank you so much, Mataji. Yeah, please give your association whenever you are possible, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Grateful for this. Thank you,
Hare,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for arranging this session.
I'll take leave now, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji.